A new report dropped that Iran just supplied Hezbollah with advanced EMPs and the means to deliver them to Israel. Guys, I believe the axis of evil forming against the state of Israel just reached crisis levels. We have a lot of critical information to get into today, so stay with me. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, so the Kuwaiti newspaper Al Jazeera this week just reported that Iran sent electromagnetic pulse technology, or EMPs, to Hezbollah and their other terror proxy groups. This is mind-blowing. It really is. An EMP, if you're unfamiliar with it, is basically like a man-made lightning strike. So imagine if lightning strikes your electrical system in your house and your lightning rod does not catch it, or your ground system doesn't catch it. It would basically fry all electronics in your house at one time, instantly. Your stove, your refrigerator, your cell phone chargers, your hot water heater, your phone system, whatever, your internet, everything fried instantly and irreparably. That is what an EMP would do if detonated properly. Basically, every electronic device within a certain radius would be permanently fried instantly. You can only imagine the ramifications of what a strike like this would do in a first world country. The power grid would go down. All driving and trucking would cease. Hospitals would go offline. Emergency services would be interrupted. Israel's Iron Dome and radar systems would go down. It would be catastrophic, to say the least, to the nation. I want to interject that it is possible that this report isn't true, but for the sake of conversation, I think that we have to assume that it just might be. Given Iran's advances in nuclear technology, it is very probable that they have developed EMPs, and if so, it's not unlikely that they would send them to their proxies as tensions continue to ramp up. In the Middle East right now, there is an axis of evil being formed of biblical proportions. Iran has promised death to America and death to Israel. They have smelled weakness in Israel and also in America. They tested that weakness on October 7th when they attacked through their proxy Hamas in Israel. And they awoke the sleeping giant in the state of Israel. Israel awoke to defend their borders in a way not seen before. But in America, it seems the sleeping giant rolled over and went back to sleep. Iran is fast pulling a coalition together to destroy the West. They are working through Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, Iraq, and the Houthis. They're strengthening their ties with Russia, the UAE, and now Turkey. Erdogan has threatened this week to send Turkish forces into Israel to invade Israel if Israel enters Lebanon. As a reminder, Turkey is a NATO member. They hold U.S. nuclear weapons on their soil, including at least 50 B-61 nuclear bombs. But real quick before I get into that, every day you hear about Israel in the news, but how much do you know about its geography and topography? Israel 365 is now selling these incredible 3D maps of modern and biblical Israel. They are detailed, raised relief maps showing cities, roads, rivers, mountains, and valleys. A 3D map of Israel hanging on your wall is not only a great way for you to follow exactly what is happening in the land of Israel geographically, but also a fantastic reminder to pray for Israel specifically by the locations that need it most at the time. They also make a meaningful gift for any occasion, whether you're an educator, student, or just someone passionate about Israel. These maps will deepen your understanding and appreciation of Israel's rich heritage. Don't miss out on this opportunity to truly experience the land of Israel. Click the link below to get your own 3D maps of modern and biblical Israel. So there's this axis of evil being formed against Israel. Israel has vowed that they will respond to Hezbollah's vicious attack the other day that killed 12 kids on a soccer field. They have an untenable situation on their northern border with Hezbollah. Over 100,000 Israelis are still in hotels in central Israel, evacuated, and they cannot return to their homes under the current situation. Hezbollah is firing missiles into Israel every single day, as we've seen in some cases with devastating consequences. And now if Israel puts IDF boots on the ground in southern Lebanon, Turkey has now promised to send troops to invade Israel. Guys, we are truly living in unprecedented times. The Bible prophesies that in the end times, all nations will eventually come up against Jerusalem. And we are very quickly seeing that come to pass. Nation after nation after nation are turning their backs on the state of Israel. In this critical hour when Israel could be on the brink of annihilation, who actually stands with Israel? I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about nations. Which nations stand with Israel? Russia and China both supply weapons to Israel's enemies. Since October, the EU and Canada have proven their disdain for the nation of Israel. Israel has cold agreements with Egypt and the UAE, but as we've seen, these countries are both enabling Hamas. The Saudis helped in a mutual defense when Iran attacked Israel recently, but they would not publicly acknowledge it. Really, the only country standing with Israel right now is the United States, and our support seems to be waning. Conservatives across America are becoming more and more anti-Semitic and are calling for America to part ways with Israel once and for all. America's government has repeatedly been trying to save Hamas by dragging Israel into a bad ceasefire deal, preventing Israel from destroying their enemies. A new report just dropped that the Biden administration is withholding promised tank ammunition, mortar shells, medium tactical vehicles, medium air-to-air missiles, F-15 fighter jets, and engines used by F-35 fighter jets. They are also withholding JDAMs, which are used for turning regular bombs into precision-guided missiles, 2,000-pound bombs, rifles for police officers, 338 medium machine guns, and guided missile systems. Guys, Zechariah 14 says, "For I will gather all nations to battle against Jerusalem. Then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations as he fights on the day of battle. And in that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be split in two." Guys, it's time to make a choice. It seems that all nations are forming to come up against the land of Israel. And if that happens today, or tomorrow, or in 10 years, where do you stand? Zechariah 14 goes on to say, "And this shall be the plague with which the Lord will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet, their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongue shall dissolve in their mouths." Zechariah 8 says, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, I am zealous for Zion with great zeal, with great fervor I am zealous for her. Thus says the Lord, I will return to Zion and dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain." Guys, it's time to pray for Israel like never before, to stand with Israel like never before, to spread the word of why it is so important for us as Christians, as believers in the Bible and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to stand with Israel and to stand with Zion. Guys, don't forget to check out, if you're interested, Israel 365's 3D maps of modern Israel and also the Bible. The link is down in the description below. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel.